Hey guys, it's Bastian time. I don't have my watch. I don't have my usual Zelda shirts. Don't have the usual wall. That's because I am not at home. I'm recording this elsewhere because I needed to sort of multitask. So anyways, let's get to that first story. There's a musician whom I'd never heard of before called Zedd, who was doing a performance on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and he did his usual song, but then the song that he did after that, or connected to that, or as part of that, was an interesting remix of the Legend of Zelda theme. It was pretty awesome, had a lot of interesting visual stuff going along with it, of the old school 8-bit original Legend of Zelda. If you want to check out that video, it's pretty interesting. There's a link for you down below. For you fellow science geeks out there, you'll be able to instantly recognize what this shirt is trying to portray. It's sort of a silly little wink at how we can get Triforce by cubing force. Pretty amusing. If you want to buy that shirt, there's a link for you down below. Now, with the sequel to Link to the Past and then the remake of Wind Waker HD, a lot of people have been saying, hey, but what about Majora's Mask 3D? We started a whole huge campaign for that. Where's that, Nintendo? And in a recent interview, Miyamoto says, hey, I'm still thinking about Majora's Mask 3D. Now, my personal opinion is that's Miyamoto's typical Miyamoto sort of way of saying, actually, we're already working on it, and it's something that's practically done. I mean, that's what he said when he was talking about whether, you know, they were asking, would you ever do a remake of A Link to the Past? And he was like, well, either a remake or maybe a sequel. And it turns out, while he was saying that, he was making a sequel. Well, Nintendo was, at least. So that's just his usual way of sort of giving us information without admitting to anything. So I think Majora's Mask 3D is probably already done and just waiting until like a year from the release of A Link to the Past 2, or I'm sorry, A Link Between Worlds. I still have trouble remembering that's its title. But speaking of Miyamoto interviews, in a recent interview he was talking about whether he ever feels like he's made a bad game, and he says he doesn't feel like he's ever made a bad game, but probably his worst game was Zelda II: The Adventure of Link, and that he feels that that's the case because usually when they sort of design a game, after that fact, they then add and subtract a whole lot, and he says that with Zelda II: The Adventure of Link, really what they designed from the get-go is exactly what the game turned out to be, and he feels like maybe they should have taken their time and sort of, you know, come up with some new ideas, added and subtracted a little bit. I think Zelda II: Adventure of Link is a perfectly fine game, although I do think that maybe had they done it in the overhead perspective, it wouldn't be quite the black sheep that it is. But anyways, that's it for this episode of Zelda News. See you guys tomorrow for Nintendo News. Bye, guys.